Hey everybody, welcome back in to Occupy Democrats. And in this breaking story, to say that Melania Trump has been the first lady, but kind of in the shadows quite purposefully, is a bit of an understatement. And if you'd like to see both her and Trump out of the White House, subscribe to the channel. Melania has been reticent, I would say, to sort of jump into the Trump way of life or the Trump way of doing things. But Melania has kind of stayed away, almost to the point of being rude, which was so well noted by Chelsea Handler right here.
We also got a glimpse at Melania's awfulness. Her former chief of staff, Stephanie Grisham, tweeted a screen grab of an exchange they had during the attack on the Capitol. So she texted to Melania, "Do you want to tweet that peaceful protests are the right of every American, but there is no place for lawlessness and violence?" And Melania wrote back, "No." Although this should come as no surprise when you consider all of the terrible things Melania has said yes to over the years. She said yes to visiting an immigrant and child detention center wearing a jacket that said, "I really don't care, do you?" She said yes to plagiarizing Michelle Obama's convention speech. She said yes to the most idiotic slogan in First Lady history, "Be best." She said yes to questioning the legitimacy of Obama's birth certificate.
Chelsea isn't done.
And worst of all, she said yes to a proposal from Donald Trump.
And yet one of the things that has been pushed by Melania Trump herself is how many languages she speaks, and she got her citizenship by way of an Einstein visa. But let's take a slightly closer look at some of those languages, because this breaking story is all about that. Check this out.
Does Melania Trump really speak 5 languages?
How many languages do you speak?
I speak few languages.
A few?
Yeah.
English?
English, Italian, French, German.
Oh, trust me, it gets worse.
Someone who is fluent in French says a little bit more than, "Hello, my name is so-and-so." You'd see they use even an artificial voice. Here's an example of one.
Melania Trump speaks French at Paris Children's Hospital. First Lady Melania Trump dusted off her French to charm a group of sick children at a Parisian hospital on Thursday.
She greeted the kids, said a few perfunctory words in Italian, and then spoke English the entire time with these kids.
Yeah, since I've spent time in both France and Italy, this is getting curious.
Ciao, come stai? Tutto bene? That's the equivalent of spaghetti, mastaccioli, scaramucci. It's fake Italian. It's Italian 101. It's not something somebody who's fluent in Italian would do.
That man is stone cold right. And in this breaking story, she is finally fully indoctrinated in the absolute shame and sham. Let's make as much money as we can off of our stupid followers. Check the grift out that Melania is now a part of right here. Breaking news. Melania Trump charging $25 to hear a fake version of her speaking Spanish for 7 hours. The First Lady's latest stunt features an AI-generated version of her voice reading from her memoir in Spanish. Melania Trump's latest money-making stunt has her branch into a market her husband is arguably hell-bent on shrinking. MAGA's First Lady is now charging fans $25 to buy a new version of her 7-hour audiobook, itself a narration of her New York Times best-selling memoir, Melania, read out in Spanish by an AI-generated version of her voice. Trump had dropped the English language version of the audiobook, similarly AI-generated, earlier in May. She heralded that release as, in quotes, the future of publishing. For Spanish language speakers, the wait is now over to hear about her family's history as onion pioneers in the former Yugoslavia, the disputed kiss she once received from the King of Saudi Arabia, her papal pizza mix-up, and her aversion to raw fish. In quotes, today, we launched the very first foreign language version of my audiobook, beginning with Espanol, built with artificial intelligence, the First Lady told Fox News. Melania Trump told MSNBC in February 2016 that she spoke 5 languages. However, none of them appear to be Spanish. She has said she is fluent in English, Italian, French, German, and her native Slovenian, but there's little evidence to back up this claim. In quotes, this release is inspired directly by the Spanish Spanish-speaking community whose enthusiasm and heartfelt requests encouraged me to make my story accessible to Spanish speakers everywhere, she went on, having previously described the process of writing her memoir as an amazing journey filled with emotional highs and lows. It is unclear whether a similarly Spanish-language version of Melania, an upcoming feature film documentary based on the book, will be screened in cinemas across the United States upon release on January 30th, 2026. By some estimates, native Spanish speakers account for roughly 40% of immigrants residing in the U.S., the vast majority of whom come from Latin American countries like Mexico, El Salvador, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Guatemala, and Honduras. It is these same communities that the Trump administration has presently made the target of arguably the largest deportation drive in American history, with brutal immigration raids and deportation proceedings slammed by critics as beset by violations of due process and human rights abuses.
Listen, it's just in time for the holidays. Melania speaks AI. I realize that some of this is, I don't know, maybe normal or we become numb to it. But yet, can you stop for just a moment and try to imagine Barbara Bush doing this? Can you try to imagine Michelle Obama, or even as much as some people don't like Hillary Clinton, her doing that in an AI world? It just wouldn't happen. And what, is she cut slack for doing it because she's actually from another country and English is a second language? Don't know and don't care. But they have now fully indoctrinated her into, hey, come up with any scheme you can, and if it's going to make money, well, the Trump family will certainly back that. You guys like and share the video, and whew, stay frosty.